absolutely beautiful Gemini friends, and welcome to your horoscope for October of 2023. We're Gemini this month. Phenomenal energy. We are in the eclipse zone. We've got our last two eclipses for not only the year, but we've also got our last two eclipses that are happening. One in the Libra energy, so that is going to bring our final solar eclipse for the year, and our last lunar eclipse happening in Taurus. And the Taurus areas have been getting worked out. The 12th house, isolation, being by yourself, working on things behind the scenes, needing to rest, restore, rejuvenate, spiritual work. You have been working on this for 18 months, and I'm going to tell you what, I really honestly believe that these eclipses, as they have worked in you, on you, for you, and around you, Gemini, have really shown you a lot about the word that I want to use is recovery. What does it take to have a recovering happen in your system, whether you chose it or you didn't choose it? Sometimes the universe will just sit us down and say, here, listen, I've got some insight for you, but Gemini, with your beautiful energy, you're moving a bit too quickly. So sit down and I'm going to show you how to recover something that is really important to you. And sometimes what it is joy, it's passion, it's play. Other times it is really this insight into what it takes for you to choose different pathways along the way than what you thought it was going to be. Anyways, lots of that work has been happening, and I see it showing up beautifully in this month. We are also going to see Pluto coming direct in the energy of Capricorn, and your 5th and 6th houses are rockin' sockin' this month, okay? So let's get in here, Gemini, and talk about what's going on this month. Also, remember that this month we'll be welcoming the birthday sale for Stormie Grace, which means that the new packages for the 2024 year are out, and they are 50% off. So now is the time where you want to snag those things. If you're really looking to get into your chart and do that growth work and have consistent support throughout the year to stay on track and accountable and in alignment with your cosmos, the packages are the best way for you to go. All of that will be in the description box down below. In we go, beautiful. Okay, right at the beginning of the month on the 4th, we see Mercury entering into the energy of Libra. Ruling planet is done with the retrograde, outside of the post-retrograde shadow time as well, so Mercury is ready to move forward in a fellow air energy that is Libra. Now for you, this is going to light up the 5th house space. So there's this vibration immediately at what you're talking, what you're thinking about, how you're connecting. It's very social. And because it's Mercury energy, Mercury also likes to make new contacts, new connections. There's networking that maybe is happening. So you may find that right at the beginning of the month, you're finding yourself being much more social. And this will be amplified, I believe, when we get to the 14th and see that new moon solar eclipse that'll also be in the vibration of Libra. This will help that. And it's really going to be a time, I think, as you get to the 14th as well, for you to know that any conversations that you need to help have conversations, make decisions, bring documentation to clarity, that will really be the time. On the 8th, we see Venus moving into the energy of Virgo, also out of the post-retrograde shadow time. So the personal planets are ready to rock and roll, okay? This is good news. So when we get to that 8th and we see Venus move into the Virgo space, it's going to start to light up your 4th house space. So these are the things: domestic, home, family, real estate, property, anything happening in those areas. It's going to bring a little bit more harmony, a little bit more creativity, balance, but it's also going to be quite detail oriented, because Venus in that Virgo energy is really about, okay, we got to get into the details of what is going on here, because something may be excessive. Right? It may be looking over to your 10th house and saying something's going on in how I'm working or what I'm doing in work, or I'm out of balance with something that's been an authority issue. And that's because this Venus is going to be opposing that Pisces energy. Okay. The other thing I was thinking of as I was looking at this is that if there has been like an inflation in your relationships, or there's been an inflammation or an exaggeration in some way in your relationships and in your work, this could be a time where I will tell you, find the necessary critical, vital professionals or counselors that can help you find the pathway to get organized. That's really how Venus in Virgo here can help you, because Venus is going to attract to you the practical means you need to get reorganized, okay? Then on the 10th, we see Pluto coming direct in the energy of Capricorn. So this is lighting up that 8th house space for you. Pluto has been retrograded, peaked into that 0 degrees of Aquarius, other fellow air sign, and then it moved back. So we went back to work out the rest of these Capricorn situations. Now, one of the biggest things in the 8th house has been about, first of all, what is your relationship to authority? The 8th house is very deep. It's intimacy and assets. So it's not just how you make money, it's I'm connected to another source very intimately through an asset or to a resource that I receive or I engage with this. So as Pluto has been retrograde, you had a chance to look at the power dynamics that were going on in this particular area, where you've had disagreements about power in another resource that you've been connected to, even if it's taxes, it's insurance, this is Capricorn energy, ideas about the government. All of these things have kind of been unraveling your family, right? And Pluto's been going back looking at that. So now as Pluto comes direct, one of the things that can happen is, first of all, the finance, right? The assets portion. There could be, do you need to make you need to pay down debt. There is a debt. There's something where you're really having to use savings and you're having to put that money towards it. Maybe what you learned during the retrograde is that you started saving, and so this could also bring like an increase to what is in that savings account for you as well. Now, the other portion of this that I think is kind of interesting for you to consider is that in your relationships, what did you see you needed to detox something in the relationship or how you're relating, because there's a disagreement. The two parties do not agree on how to move this intimate or asset-based relationship forward. So whatever it is here, one of the things that I think is important to be mindful of is that the Pluto coming direct can be a bit fiery. It can be a bit fiery because you've seen something a little bit more deeply for what it is, or you've come to the conclusion that I didn't necessarily choose this, but this is what's on me, this is what's in my space, and you don't necessarily agree with it. So it can be fiery between the two parties. Whatever it is, remember, you've got Mercury help in this Libra energy. Try to find the most win-win solution through what you're doing, okay? All right, on the 12th, we see Mars moving into the energy of Scorpio. This begins to light up that 6th house place for you. And this is nice because you can put your energy into what actually needs your attention. Is there a project that you are finishing up? Is there something around health, wellness, daily routines? Is there something that it would have began some months ago, and now that product or project you need to move along with it? This would be something very useful. Now, the ruling planet, one of them, of Scorpio energy is in its sign, so this is great. This is a domicile. But the other one is just direct in the energy of Capricorn. So again, it shows me this indicator of, okay, where do you need to bring something important that is connected to your daily routine to a close? In another lens, this can be great for exercise. This can be really, really very good for exercise if that's something you are taking on at that particular time. And you also get the benefit of being very single focused. Mars wants to focus on like one thing at a time. So here you have one thing that you can focus on, handle, and bring it to a close. On the 14th, we've got the new moon solar eclipse happening at 21 degrees of Libra. Okay, like I said, these eclipses have been working on you for some time, and we've had 4 this year, so that's been, we've just worked that on out. But this one, as it's coming, is happening in your 2nd house. So in this 2nd house, what am I saying? In your 2nd house. This is taking place in your 5th house. I was so excited about your 2nd house. I just want you to have all the money. In your 5th house of taking a risk, of play, joy, romance, children, conception of new ideas, which such as companies or things like that, conception of children. Also, though, you as a child in relationship to your parents. This is also a time where, you're having this opportunity for a new beginning in this particular energy, and it's absolutely lovely and needed. Okay, but some of the things that come up for themes around this is, first of all, you're planting your seeds of intention to begin something else in this area. So what you can expect is that you will have things develop here over the next 6 months. You'll have a revelation. You'll have an epiphany of where to begin something. There's opportunities that are available to show up in this arena for you, starting that business, things happening for your children. But also, because this is Libra and it's so personal, it means that the connections, the networking, the relationships connected to this fresh start come. It's like, who do you know? Who are you connected with? And is that the healthiest relationship for you to be connected to? For some of you here in this 5th house, you may also potentially, I believe, be meeting someone who down the road becomes a serious partner in your life, whether that's a business partner or it turns into marriage of any variety, okay? I'll just put it that way. Now on the 22nd, busy day, we see Mercury now entering into the energy of Scorpio, and right behind that, the Sun welcomes into Scorpio as well. So the 6th house is lit and very, very busy for your experience. Now again, this is a wonderfully hyper-focused kind of energy over the next 4 weeks for you to be considering, okay, yes, Scorpio may want a bit of that privacy and that kind of energy, but also this is great for social things. This is great for being social and asking the questions of what you need to ask to get under the hood of what needs to be taken care of in that health, what needs to be taken care of in the daily routine. So in this way, it's actually very useful for you to have this hyper-focused energy. Get things done, be clear on what it is that you need to do, be clear and targeted on who you need to talk to achieve what you need to achieve. Strategy is a phenomenal word that I think of when I think of Scorpio, okay? As we're closing this month, Gemini, on the 28th, we've got the full moon lunar eclipse happening at 5 degrees of Taurus. Now, again, the Taurus area of your chart, the 12th house, has been worked on and worked on and worked on. So truly, in the ways that you've needed healing, you needed to work on things behind the scenes. If there have been injuries or you've been sat down where you didn't choose it, maybe there was an injury that happened and it kind of knocked you on your behind and you had to sit down, I would be looking into what is the metaphysical principle that is going with this, because sometimes it can also be with Uranus traveling in the energy of Taurus as well, that you really didn't expect it. You didn't expect what came from behind the scenes. But as we're having this full moon energy, it's asking us to end something, acknowledge something, or to adjust something, right? So one of the things it's giving us an indicator is that, first of all, things are going to begin to emerge and come to an end over this next 6 months. Second, that because Uranus is involved, I think that if you have been making progress in this particular area and asking things about value and realizing what you needed in a financial sense behind the scenes, what do you need in case there's ever an emergency in your life? Do you have resources? And those resources could be relationships or they could be finance, right? What do you value in that 12th house space? Have you created something behind the scenes that will later have value? I think with Uranus traveling here, you've needed to move differently, and you can feel good about what has come to the surface and what will come to the surface for you as well. It's really quite a big time that, instead of just going, oh my God, the full moon's coming, what is it going to take from me? Let it be a revelation at this time of so many karmic things, so many behaviors coming to an end, knowing that the ground has been brilliantly fertilized to begin something new here as we continue to travel as well. So wherever you need to make last minute adjustments or course corrections in this Taurus energy, I think that this will absolutely help you to do so. All right, my absolutely beautiful Gemini friends, I hope you have a gorgeous month. I look forward to seeing you in our sessions as we travel from now all the way through 2024. Grab your packages while they are still on sale. And anything else I can do to help for you or any questions you have, check the description box down below.